Welcome to the podcast with Kilee Nickels. I made the unlikely transition from stay-at-home mom to CEO of Nickel & Suede, a leading multi-million-dollar fashion company. At Nickel & Suede, we empower the everyday woman to step into her story more boldly, one life-changing accessory at a time. The goal of this podcast is to inspire you through my story and the stories of other powerhouse women to live the best version of your life. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and get ready to get started with Kilee Nickels. Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm glad to be back and excited to be talking to you today. Before this episode started, Derek asked me, where do you get the ideas for these podcasts? Because we always go over like, what's it going to be about? And I've gotten great ideas from you guys, so keep them coming. I also get great ideas from speaking with my mindset coach every week. If you don't have a coach or a counselor or a therapist or someone who's like got an outside perspective to talk about, totally recommend one, because it's been awesome to just to have an hour dedicated every week, or it could be, less frequently, but to just like reflect and think about things and figure out why I do what I do or why I don't do what I don't do. So this topic came up this week and it's kind of come to light. It's something that I've been talking about, but today I wanted to talk about the space between, or the gap between adventures, maybe is one way to put it. The gap between starting something new and what you previously did. So maybe you could call it a pivot this year. That's been the most important word of the year. But feel like I've been living in this gap or this space for about the last year. And I previously had a podcast about butterflies and metamorphosis. And so this kind of feels like that I'm talking about that cocoon stage again. But really, I wanted to talk today about and acknowledge and kind of just give permission, because that's what I'm doing for myself, that there is a gap between what you used to do and what you are meant to do, or what you are trying to do next. And, this will make more sense as I give more examples and talk about it. But this year has been a year for a lot of people to pivot, to make changes. We've been forced to, based on pandemic and things shutting down and things that are maybe out of our control. But a lot of us have been redirecting our energies or having to change to something new. And that new has not been comfortable. So what I want to offer up is that we're actually maybe, a lot of us aren't in the new yet, or we're in this gap, this space time where we're trying to figure out what is the next place look like, and how do I get good at it? How do I be a pro at the next thing that I'm trying and taking on? So this idea came to light for me about a year ago. I was at a conference, and I was at the conference and had this thought that I really needed to go all in on Nickel & Suede. So early days of Nickel & Suede, and before that, I was a style blogger, and was known for my style. I was a mom blogger too. I blogged about mom things, DIYs, my fashion, sales, all those things. And that was my job for years. And as Nickel & Suede started, I was like, I want to keep them both going. They're both important to me. They're both really good. And the blog helps the business, so I'm going to keep it going. And I also really focused on keeping them separate. I kept the blog as separate as I could, where I still wanted to keep adding value and telling the stories I would tell and giving advice about back to school or what we talk to our kids about and how do I decorate my house and all the things I started off doing for the first few years. I decided I'm just going to keep those things going while I also start this new adventure with Nickel & Suede. And so I think that was the right choice and a good thing for me to do for years, about 5 years. I kept doing it, and the blog was, not as consistent as I would like. And I always kind of was comparing myself to other bloggers and influencers while also trying to do kids and start this other business. So I kind of came to this point last fall where I was like, I need to look at what the future really is going to look like, where the biggest potential is, where do I want to be spending my time, and splitting my time and splitting my efforts and splitting myself is not working. I'm not feeling fulfilled in either place. And so I recorded a podcast when I got back about going 2 feet in, and I really felt strongly about it. And I feel like that's the place I need to go. Now, it's easier to say something like that and to make a decision than to actually make it come to pass. Certainly can't make it come to pass in like one day. Like, okay, shutting my doors, opening the new ones, and cutting all ties with the past, because life's about evolving and becoming our next version of ourselves. And so you will always carry pieces of that with you. But what does it look like to make that change? What does that feel like? It was hard. Why was it hard? Well, because I was doing a lot of good with my past job, with my job as an influencer, as a mom blogger, as a stay-at-home mom. I was doing a lot of good. I was home with my little kids, which was great. That was what I wanted. I was able to be there when they got on the bus and got off the bus. I made all their lunches and did all those things. I was blogging about real life. That was something that I became kind of known for. People liked to read my blog was because I was authentic. I talked about hard things, embarrassing things, and that helped women. I talked about my miscarriage. That helped women. So I was doing good things with this, and I was creating pretty content. It was fun to take beautiful pictures and style outfits and those things. So I was doing good. I was also good at what I was doing. So I had figured out how to blog and how to make money off of it. I had a good second income because of blogging. I had figured out how to do it. Like, okay, if I buy new clothes, then I can link them and then I can make money on those, and while providing all these good things to my audience. So I was getting good at it. I had every item, I think do. I like every style of clothes memorized from all the different retailers I shopped, because I was so familiar with the sales and the sales cycle and the so I could say, hey, that's the Ryder shirt from Madewell, or that's the this boot from Sam Edelman. Like, I had memorized like the inventory of all these other stores unintentionally. So I was good at it. It felt good to do what I was doing. It felt good to do all those things, to make a difference, and to have people really responding to what I was doing, until it didn't feel good anymore, until things started to change, until I started to change. Part of that was Nickel and Suede growing more, but I did start to get tired of doing some of it. Some of it wasn't fulfilling anymore. It wasn't filling my creative bucket. It felt like I'm just, was I dressing like I wanted to dress, or was I dressing like what would sell? Or was I spending so much time linking things and trying to figure out what the sales are, and everything needed to be done on a daily basis again and again and again. So it just kind of got tiring. And then Nickel and Suede, the business that Soren was running and I was also running from home, started to have problems popping up that it needed help with. It started having culture problems, and it needed more leadership, and it wasn't going the way I envisioned it while I was directing it from home. So it was hard to kind of get to that point. And so that's what helped me make it obvious that I needed to make a shift. Nickel and Suede provided, I think we had over 20 employees last fall, 25. And so all these people are dependent on us for their income, or my family depends on it. Me and Soren run the business together. Like, that's where my heart and my energies and my efforts need to be. But what do I do with all this other stuff that was mine and I was good at? The next stop, your past life, my past life, I was good at it. I was doing good. It felt good. Okay. The next thing that I had to switch to, it felt like I was doing more damage than good. I walked into the culture needing help and not knowing how to figure that out. We needed more leadership. I don't have a lot of experience with that. That was I feel like I don't know how to fill that need. My kids started missing me because I started working full time. So that felt like it was damaging at home. Now things, all these other balls were getting dropped that I had previously been so good at keeping up. Okay. So I felt like I was doing more damage than good. Now I wasn't good at what I was doing. It was all new. And so I had to take this huge piece of humble pie because felt like I was starting over again. Like, how do I lead? I don't know everything about the business. Soren knows everything, but I'm trying to lead. And how do we work together on that? So I didn't feel good at it. That didn't feel good because I could tell I had things to learn. We needed to figure out our roles at work. I had to stop doing a lot of creative things because there was other work to do to set up a business. So that's my story of having to make this switch. And I've gone back and forth, and I've wanted to acknowledge today in this podcast by sharing my story and my experiences that all those feelings are okay. Those are totally normal. There is going to be this space of leaving what you know and you're good at to trying something new. And that something new, you've thought of it. It's been put in your heart. You want to do it for a reason. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy to get there and you instantly know how to do it. I have frequently felt like, and you will feel like in that space, maybe you do right now because you're in it, like, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. I'm not qualified to do this. I've never done this before. So why is this being asked of me? I just want to go back. Can't I just go back and do those things I used to be good at instead? Like, can I go back to that life and that old me? And I don't want to be pessimistic or to be, I just really want to be real that like those are all real feelings because of course we crave comfort. We crave our comfort zone. We crave what we know, and the unknown feels like all these things, and that's totally normal. So wanted to give some encouragement and things that I've done to help live in this space. I do feel like I'm living in it right now because I feel like the next spot for me is kind of what I've written down on my vision board of like, what does success look like? I was definitely experiencing success in my previous adventure. Maybe I could have gotten bigger and better. And sometimes I feel like, I could have just kept doing that. And I was, it had gotten easy at that point. I want this new adventure to start feeling easy or to feel comfortable. Like I've tried it on before. Like I am confident I can do it. And so to me, that's where I'll feel like I've arrived a little bit. It doesn't look like a $100 million company, but like when I can show up and lead a meeting and put together an agenda and put together a plan, and I feel like I know what I'm doing. I can do this. And I've had that success in little things. And so I want to recommend that if you're in this space, if you're moving and you're pivoting and you're making a change, that there's ways you can make yourself a little more comfortable while you're there. So the first one is, I would say, be hyper aware of any positive forward changes that you see in yourself and in your abilities, and record them. Do check-ins with yourself and say, oh my goodness, that used to be really hard. Now it doesn't feel quite so hard. Or I've done that 50 times and finally it feels comfortable to me. One example I've shared is doing interviews over the phone. Not comfortable in the least at the beginning. I don't even like answering the phone for strangers, much less conducting an interview. But by the time I'd gone through 50 of them, I did have a feeling of, look at that. I just got off the phone and I didn't feel like a panic attack the entire time. Like I actually feel like I've tried this on before. Feels comfortable, like it fits. And is there improvement still to go? Yes, but man, it feels good. So celebrate those small wins. The small wins all add up to where you really want to go and where you really are feeling comfortable in your new role. Also, it can't always be comfortable. You're going to have to get used to it feeling uncomfortable. Everywhere in the future is the unknown, and the unknown is always going to feel uncomfortable. So just remind yourself that your brain is tricking you when you say, can't we just go back? Can't I just go back? That was the past. And of course that felt comfortable. Hindsight is 2020. So it will always feel uncomfortable going forward. So make it more comfortable by celebrating your progress, and get comfortable with the fact that it's always going to feel out of your comfort zone. But I want to remind you that if you have something like this put in your heart and you dream bigger and you want to go after something, you are signing yourself up for it. It's your choice to live a bolder, more fearless life. And so because you chose that, you can handle it. It was put in your heart for a reason. It was your purpose. It's your thing that you really want for yourself. So the reward on the other side of it is, of course, going to be something that's so self-fulfilling, and you're going to be glad you made the journey. So I believe that, and I'm confident about where I'm going, and that's why I'm continuing to push through. I want to remind you of that and help you feel confident in that too, that you can do the next thing. You can survive the pivot. You can survive the space between the things you know and the things that you're going to know in the future. Because like one of my team members, Lexi's, always says, like, the future me is going to be so proud of myself. The future me is going to be so good at this. The future me is going to be so comfortable in this new role. And if you believe that about yourself, you will become that person. So hope those thoughts are helpful and can help your mindset and shift this week like it's been helping mine. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening today to With Kilee Nickels. I hope that today you felt empowered to take one more step towards living the best version of you. Tune in next week for another episode, and in the meantime, you can find us elsewhere on the internet. You can find me on Instagram at Kilee Nickels and at Nickel and Suede. You can also find us at nickelandsuede.com. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.